It is another week in the National Football League, and the energy around New England feels different right now. There is confidence in the air, the kind that only builds when a team starts proving itself week after week. Heading into this matchup against Baltimore, there's already a lot to unpack, and it starts with a move the Patriots made that quietly says a lot about how this coaching staff is thinking. This is not a team sitting back and hoping things fix themselves. This is a team actively adjusting, identifying weaknesses, and addressing them before they turn into real problems. If you had asked most people before the season started where New England would be at this point, very few would have predicted this position. Expectations were reasonable, optimism was cautious, and the idea of this team riding a massive winning streak felt more like wishful thinking than reality. Yet here we are, watching a Patriots squad that keeps stacking wins and playing meaningful football deep into the season. Momentum is real in this league, and right now New England has it. The coaching staff knows it, the locker room feels it, and the front office is clearly acting with urgency to protect it. One of the biggest talking points coming out of the most recent game was what showed up on the stat sheet defensively. When a safety ends up leading the team in tackles, it raises eyebrows. On paper, it might look like a productive day, but anyone who watches football closely understands what that usually means. It often signals that opposing offenses are getting through the first and second levels of the defense far too easily, forcing defensive backs to clean things up downfield. That is not how a defense wants to live, especially one that prides itself on physicality and discipline. The Patriots saw that issue and responded quickly. Moving on from one player and bringing in another may not grab headlines across the league, but internally, those decisions matter. They reflect evaluation, accountability, and preparation for what is coming next. Adding linebacker depth right now is not about panic. It is about recognizing that injuries and availability can shift everything, especially against a physical opponent like Baltimore that thrives on stressing defenses in the run game and forcing linebackers to make fast, decisive reads. The absence of key contributors in the middle of the defense was felt. There were moments where gaps were not filled cleanly, angles were late, and coverage underneath lacked its usual sharpness. Earlier in the season, that same unit looked far more connected. When healthy, the Patriots have shown they can control the line of scrimmage, clog running lanes, and make life uncomfortable for quarterbacks trying to work the middle of the field. That identity does not disappear overnight, but it does require the right personnel on the field. That is where the recent roster move becomes important. Bringing in a linebacker who has been around competitive environments and strong defensive rooms shows intent. This is not a random addition. Players do not get elevated to the active roster unless the coaching staff believes they can contribute quickly, whether that is on defense, special teams, or simply pushing competition in practice. Depth matters more now than at any other point in the season, especially for a team with postseason aspirations. Another factor in all of this is patience. Sitting a player who is close to returning can be frustrating for fans who want immediate results, but is often the smartest long-term decision. The Patriots are not fighting just to stay relevant. They are positioning themselves for January football. Rushing someone back only to risk a setback could do far more damage down the line. Managing health now is about protecting the bigger picture, not sacrificing it for one regular season moment. As the focus shifts toward Baltimore, the challenge becomes clear. The Ravens are physical, disciplined, and relentless. They test defenses horizontally and vertically, forcing linebackers to diagnose plays quickly and defensive linemen to maintain gap integrity on every snap. This is exactly the type of matchup where depth and preparation matter. You cannot afford breakdowns in communication or hesitation at the second level, because those small mistakes turn into explosive plays against a team like this. What makes this moment interesting is how the Patriots have evolved. Early in the season, there were questions about consistency, about whether this group could sustain success once opponents adjusted. Instead, New England has continued to respond. Adjustments are being made weekly, game plans are evolving, and the coaching staff is showing trust in its process. That trust is earned through execution, and the players have largely delivered. There's also a psychological element at play. Winning builds belief, and belief changes how teams prepare. Practices become sharper, details matter more, and players start holding each other accountable at a higher level. You can sense that shift with this Patriots team. They're no longer just hoping to compete. They expect to win, and that expectation changes everything when stepping onto the field. Looking ahead, every decision from here on out carries weight. Seeding, matchups, and momentum are all intertwined. The Patriots understand that they cannot control everything, but they can control how prepared they are when opportunities arise. Adding depth, protecting health, and addressing defensive concerns now all point to a team thinking beyond the next kickoff. As this week unfolds, the spotlight will naturally gravitate toward the matchup itself, the schemes, and the star players. But behind the scenes, it is these quieter decisions that often determine who is still standing when the games matter most. New England is sending a message that it is paying attention, that it is not satisfied, and that it is willing to adapt to stay competitive at the highest level. As the conversation continues to shift toward the bigger picture, it becomes impossible not to talk about where the Patriots currently stand within the conference and what that positioning really means. This is the part of the season where every win carries extra weight, where tiebreakers start creeping into discussions, and where teams begin quietly imagining potential playoff paths. New England is firmly in that mix, and even if the odds of climbing all the way to the top are slim, the fact that the Patriots are even part of that conversation speaks volumes about how far this group has come. Right now, the reality is that control of the top seed is not fully in New England's hands. Other teams ahead in the standings have built a narrow cushion, and that means the Patriots must focus on what they can control rather than obsessing over outside results. That mindset has served this organization well for decades. Handle your business, keep stacking wins, and let the rest sort itself out. Football has a funny way of rewarding teams that stay disciplined and ready when chaos hits the standings late in the year. What makes this stretch fascinating is how matchup-dependent the postseason can be. Seeding matters, but so does style. Certain teams simply match up better against others, regardless of record. When you look across the potential playoff field, there are squads that rely heavily on timing, others that lean on physical dominance, and some that live and die by explosive plays. The Patriots, at their best, are built to disrupt rhythm. They force long drives, limit mistakes, and capitalize when opponents get impatient. That is why the idea of specific postseason opponents naturally sparks debate. There are past games that still sting, moments where execution slipped and opportunities were left on the field. Those games tend to linger, not as regrets, but as lessons. The Patriots know there are matchups out there that feel unfinished, games where the outcome could look very different if played again under playoff pressure. That sense of unfinished business can be a powerful motivator when January arrives. Defensively, the path forward hinges on tightening up the middle of the field. The Patriots thrive when their linebackers are decisive and their defensive line controls the point of attack. When that happens, everything else falls into place. Coverage becomes cleaner, pass rushers can attack without hesitation, and safeties are free to play aggressively rather than reactively. That balance is crucial against postseason caliber offenses that excel at finding mismatches and exploiting hesitation. Offensively, consistency remains the name of the game. This unit does not need to be flashy every week. What it needs is reliability. Sustaining drives, winning time of possession, and converting key third downs take pressure off the defense and keep games within a controllable flow. The Patriots have shown they can do this when they stay patient and avoid self-inflicted mistakes. In tight playoff games, that discipline often makes the difference between advancing and going home. There's also something to be said about confidence gained from adversity. This team has faced moments where things did not go according to plan, where injuries tested depth and performances fell short of expectations. Instead of folding, the Patriots adjusted. Players stepped into new roles. The coaching staff adapted its approach, and the team continued moving forward. Those experiences matter when the stakes rise and every possession feels magnified. As the season edges closer to its final stretch, Every opponent presents a different kind of test. Some will challenge physicality, others will challenge discipline, and some will test mental toughness. The Patriots cannot afford to overlook any of them, regardless of record or reputation. In this league, complacency is punished quickly, especially when teams are fighting for playoff positioning. What stands out most is how deliberate New England has been in shaping its identity. This is not a team relying on luck or hoping for favorable breaks. It is a team focused on execution, preparation, and incremental improvement. Those traits may not always dominate highlight reels, but they are the foundation of sustainable success, especially in cold weather, high-pressure games. The energy around the Patriots right now feels earned. It is built on effort, adjustment, and belief. There's still plenty of football left to be played, and nothing is guaranteed, but this team has put itself in a position to matter when it counts. Every snap from here on out adds to that story, shaping what this season will ultimately be remembered for as the Patriots continue pushing forward, fully aware that the most important games are still waiting just ahead. As the focus narrows even more, the Patriots find themselves entering the phase of the season where habits define outcomes. By now, identities are set, strengths are clear, and weaknesses are no longer secrets. Every opponent knows what New England wants to do, and the challenge becomes executing anyway. That is where experience, preparation, and discipline separate teams that merely reach the postseason from teams that can survive it. What continues to stand out with this Patriots group is how composed they look in moments that used to feel unstable earlier in the year. Situations that once led to rushed decisions or defensive lapses are now being handled with patience. That does not mean perfection, but it does mean fewer self-inflicted problems. Penalties are being reduced, assignments are clearer, and adjustments are happening faster, sometimes within the same drive. Those are signs of a team that is growing together rather than relying on individual flashes. The coaching influence is impossible to ignore. This team plays with structure, and even when things break down, there's a visible effort to reset and respond instead of spiraling. Players are being put in positions that match their strengths, and the play calling reflects trust in the roster. That trust matters, especially late in the season when confidence can swing a game just as quickly as talent. Physically, the grind is real. Bodies are sore, recovery becomes just as important as practice, and depth is constantly tested. This is where earlier decisions, like reinforcing key positions and managing injuries carefully, begin to show their value. Fresh legs and healthy contributors can tilt matchups that look even on paper. New England understands that winning in December and January is often about who can still play fast when fatigue sets in. Mentally, the Patriots appear locked in. There's no sense of chasing narratives or getting distracted by outside noise. The message inside the building seems simple. Stack good days, trust the process, and stay connected. That approach has long been a hallmark of successful football teams, and it feels deeply ingrained here. Every week is treated as its own challenge, not a stepping stone or a formality. As opponents prepare to face New England, they're no longer looking at a team in transition. They're preparing for a disciplined, confident group that expects to compete for 4 full quarters. That shift in perception matters. Respect changes how teams approach game plans, how aggressive they're on 4th downs, and how much risk they're willing to take. The Patriots are forcing teams to be honest about their own execution. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most shocking moves in recent NFL history, rumors are swirling that Justin Jefferson, the electrifying wide receiver widely regarded as one of the league's brightest young stars, is on the verge of joining the New England Patriots. Sources close to the situation have hinted that discussions have reached an advanced stage, and some insiders, including ESPN commentators, are already framing this as a near-certain deal. If true, this would mark a seismic shift not only for the Patriots, but for the entire landscape of the NFL. Jefferson, known for his unmatched route running, lightning-fast acceleration, and knack for making impossible catches, has been a centerpiece of his current team's offense, consistently delivering jaw-dropping performances that leave fans and analysts alike in awe. His potential arrival in New England would instantly transform the Patriots' aerial attack, giving quarterback Mac Jones, or whoever is under center, the kind of weapon that can change games single-handedly. The chemistry Jefferson could develop with New England's offensive scheme is the subject of endless speculation, with many imagining highlight reel plays that could turn the Patriots into a legitimate contender in the league. While the Patriots have a history of bold offseason moves, signing a talent of Jefferson's caliber would send shockwaves across the NFL. Analysts are already debating the implications for the team's cap space, draft strategy, and long-term planning. Some argue that this move signals a renewed commitment to building around a dynamic offense, while others wonder how this fits into Bill Belichick's renowned defensive-minded philosophy. Of course, nothing is confirmed, and the NFL rumor mill is famously unpredictable. Yet, with multiple reports pointing to serious negotiations, fans are buzzing with anticipation. Social media is alive with speculation, mock scenarios, and debates over what a Jefferson-led Patriots offense might look like. Even rivals are reportedly taking notice, considering how this acquisition could reshape playoff predictions and the balance of power in the league. If Justin Jefferson does indeed land in New England, it could be the start of a new era for the Patriots, a team hungry to return to dominance, armed with one of the most electrifying talents in the sport. Until official confirmation arrives, the league waits with bated breath, and fans are left to imagine the possibilities of what might be one of the most headline-grabbing signings in recent NFL history. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.